Hello and welcome to the Busy Bays podcast, where we provide valuable insight and advice on the marketing and other business type questions that auto repair shops encounter as they work towards achieving their goals. Now here's our hosts, Martin Morgan and Bekah Weinbein. We've received the results of our shop owner survey and we want to share with you.
Bekah's right. The results are in on what shop owners like yourselves said about recruiting and marketing within their own shop.
We're going to start with what shop said about recruiting technicians, since we all know that it's not a secret that finding a good tech isn't always the easiest thing to do.
That is true, and what we wanted to do was quantify the problem to some extent, and what we found was shocking and probably worrisome and certainly painful for many of you out there. What we asked was, do any of the following factors often prevent you from accepting jobs? And what we heard from shop owners, 37% said that too few employees were in the shop to enable them to accept work. So said another way, nearly 40% of the shops who took the survey have had to turn away customers due to a lack of employees, and that's definitely troublesome.
That seems crazy to me. I mean, even to accept it as a shop owner, like, that blows ultimately. So many shops, if they can't take on more business just because of not having enough techs, how many of those that we surveyed are actually looking to hire the technicians they need?
Another question we asked directly, and you're absolutely right, Bekah, it's very difficult for those shops out there that are continuously looking for techs for critical roles, and what we found is 70% of the shops are actively hiring techs. So you can see why it'd be very difficult when 70% of the shops that are out there are looking for techs. That's a very competitive market, and it's an employees market for sure.
So they're definitely hiring it. That's not necessarily the problem lying there. And I mean, for the most part, shops are trying to get those employees that they desperately need.
Yeah, they're trying to do what they know to do and what they can do. So we asked them what techniques they're using when it comes to hiring. Nearly 80% said that they are using online ads and job postings. As you'd expect to be, there's a lot of recruiting happening via online with shops, as there is across all industries really at this point. But it's certainly not the only thing that shops are doing right now to try to fill those important openings.
That's great that shops are focusing really online. That's where people are. That's where their customers are. But what are other things they're doing?
The other things that they had mentioned, 67% are using a professional network to spread the word, and obviously that's really important. Referrals, credibility, all of those things come into play when you've got somebody else out there who can recommend you as an employer. Just like with customers, when it comes to employees, those referrals, those recommendations, those reviews, all of those things are really important. We had 46% say that they're recruiting high school or technical schools, recruiting from high schools or technical schools. 36% are offering referral incentives for employees. So that looks something like, hey, if you refer somebody and they come on board, we're going to pay you $2,000, maybe that you pay $500 up front and then $1,500 after 6 months of employment or something like that. And then 35% said that they're offering internships in the shop. So of the options that were here, online ads or job postings was number one, using their professional network was number two, and then it's spread out across some of the other options.
I wish more shops offered internships within their program, or that they can go along with high school students, because so many kids are hands-on learners, and you groom them, you grow them, you show them the way of your shop, they learn, and after they're done being in high school, they can come and work for you.
It's a good way to give somebody an opportunity to try something. You both are kind of trying something.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking at somebody in high school. Start with just 2 or 3, 4 hours a week, or just start with 4 hours period, and invite them to come to the shop and see see how they like it, see if they seem to have the type of ambition that you're looking for, see if they're mechanically inclined, all of those things that give you a chance. And then you can slowly build from there, and then you groom them to really come and fit in and hit the ground running as soon as they graduate from high school or the tech school, whatever it might be. A good way to potentially get people who might be interested. And I actually heard this from somebody in a different business, but more like a trade type business, was they would encourage high school field trips to their location. So it might be a field trip type of a thing, if it makes sense, with a local school with maybe a smaller group or larger group of people. They can come to the shop, and then you kind of teach them about what it's like to run a shop, to be in a shop, to work in a shop, to be a tech, all of those things, which is a cool opportunity.
And I mean, I remember when I was in high school, we did work experience, so that was great for me because, I mean, I technically got paid to go to school in a way.
Yeah.
So it was just a nice thing as a student, being able to take advantage of that.
And a lot of that depends on your location. Just look into it. Maybe it's something that is available where somebody could get school credit while also working for you in some internship type of setup.
Yeah, any training that you can get in with new employees or even your older ones, which I know we focused a lot on asking about their current employees in the shops, like what kind of training goes on, how often does it happen, what were some of the results of that?
So the question we asked was, how often do your technicians receive training on new technology or equipment? And what we found out is that 83% of shops are putting their techs in training at least 2 times a year. So that's a good mark. And as you consider, okay, what do I do with that information? Well, it depends in part on what your goal is as an employer, or what you might hit on as far as advantages of working for your shop. If you want one of those things to be training, then clearly you've got to do that more than 2 times a year, because that's 83% of shops are doing at least 2 times a year. Turns out 39% are doing 4 times a year or more. So that's pretty significant. It just shows you that the bar is pretty high from a training standpoint, and that's great because there are a lot of things that are changing, especially related to technology.
We've absolutely hit on the fact of training shows that you care about, one, your business, your customers, and your employees. Really try to groom them, grow them, and ultimately it's going to help your business in the long run.
Especially if you find those techs that are hungry for that type of training, or maybe they want to know everything there is about the new technology in a way that you can leverage that knowledge that they build to help you serve potentially new markets or work on different types of cars.
Recruiting techs was definitely a hot topic in the survey, but it really wasn't the only big takeaway that we had. As we transition just into what shops are currently doing on the stance of their marketing, what types of things did they doing currently as like a technique?
So from an intro question standpoint, we asked which marketing techniques does your shop use? So online search led the way at 78%. Social media postings comes in at 69%.
Wow.
Community-based sponsorships or events, 62%. Physical advertising or traditional advertising, 58%. Emails, 54%. And mailings, direct mail to new or existing customers, comes in at 46%. So quite a bunch of shops doing a lot of different things.
Which is kind of fun to see. I mean, I was very interested in how people were going to respond to this question, so I'm glad that they offered a lot of variety here. Clearly, a large portion of it was online search, which I love to see. I mean, hello, we're on the internet constantly.
Certainly, online search these days, really important from the standpoint of finding new customers. More and more consumers, potential customers, first thing they do when it comes to finding a local service provider for any type of service is take their smartphone and search online to find a local provider. So it definitely makes sense and good sense, and glad to see so many people using online search at that 78%. And also interesting that right behind that, really, at 69% is social media posting.
Yeah, shops now, I'm not sure how much people are focusing on Facebook. And I don't know the right answer depending on location or their audience.
Right. The interesting thing is, it is hard to tell. It almost feels like we need to divide up every single social media and ask them. And now, of course, nobody's going to want to take that survey because there's too many questions and it's too long.
Right.
But maybe in the future, something we do is just focus on social media and see how much people are using it. I think a large number probably are of that 69% are using Facebook just because it is still so big. It still has a lot of users, and it's been big for years. So there's a lot out about why Facebook is important.
Yeah, I do take a look at a lot of our customers. I'll look at their Facebook every once in a while and see kind of what they're posting, who's engaging, and whether or not it's working for their customer base, and hopefully it is with that number that high. We took a look at techniques of what shops are doing to bring in new customers, and what did those results kind of look like, Martin?
So from a new customer standpoint, it was online search, as we'd expect, as number one. So the specific question we asked, and important to note the question and the way that we asked it, is which marketing technique is most effective at bringing in new customers? And from the survey, 57% of those who took it said online search was number one. So 57%, that's pretty large, and especially because the rest of it is spread out at pretty low percentages. So physical or traditional advertising is next at 14%. Direct mail is 10%. Community-based sponsorships or events, 9%. Social media is at 6%. And then emails at 3%. And, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of shops probably don't have a lot of people's emails of customers they've never had. You're just not out there.
It's not magic.
Emails. Yeah. You don't find that. So that does definitely make sense. But online search came out over and above as the leader when it comes to bringing in new customers.
And with that having such a significant leap ahead of the other things that people are doing to bring in new customers, it's important to note as a shop, take a look at your website. What do you have online? And do you have the necessary information that you need, or more so that the customers need to give you a call to contact you? Because if it's not there, who cares?
Yeah, absolutely critically important. Website and Google My Business profile. They're the ones who punch for you online when it comes to online search.
What are those type of things that people are doing?
So traditional advertising type things, they might be being in coupon books, something like that, advertising in local publications. I think many of us, or close to all of us, probably have that local publication that's like zip code oriented that gets mailed out. So we're thinking mail, it's possibly radio, people still doing radio, even though it says physical advertising. I think we also framed it as traditional advertising. So it's all those things that one might think of as advertising versus like digital advertising. So it's those things that more often than not go in people's homes or might show up. Yeah, tangible.
I always think of when football season rolls around for like high school or something, they always have like the coupon books for fundraising.
Yep.
I think that's kind of a sweet deal. It ties in with community too. Get your reputation out there too.
Yeah, and some people may have picked that as community. That it could fit in both.
And customer service was a really large portion. What shops are advertising to show who they are, and I would really like to see just more shops being able to push their reviews as well as their reputation, like you said, like the Google My Business page that holds all those reviews. Those types of claims of having customer service, everybody can say, hey, I've got great customer service, come to me, but where's the proof in the pudding?
Right. So customer service, a question that we asked also in the survey was which factors used most frequently in your marketing, and customer service was number 2. So 30% of the participants said customer service. 45% said work quality. Reviews, reputation came in third with 10%. Price was 8%. Services performed at 6%. Location 1%. And surprisingly, convenience was was 0%. But Bekah's lead in there makes a lot of sense, because a lot of times what shops will do and what that looks like is in those advertisements, they'll have something related to, hey, we've got the best customer service in the area. And the challenge with claiming customer service is that everybody claims customer service, and it's hard to stand out unless you can use some sort of numbers really to quantify that, which we'd really encourage you to do. Bekah also referenced reviews, which are a great way to quantify customer service. So if you can either talk about the number of good reviews you have, obviously, so your average review points on Google, it's up to 5. So
star rating,
rating, anything that's a good one. 5's the max. So below 5 is obviously okay. Nobody expects you to be perfect.
Yeah.
But that's a good way to put it. Number of reviews, your star rating, all of those things. And you might be getting reviews on other platforms as well, and feel free to utilize that. But if you can use something like, we have a 4.8 star rating on Google with 200 reviews, that looks awesome compared to the shop that just says, we're really good at customer service.
And here's our 2 reviews.
That's all we have. And, a consumer looks at that and like, oh, they are. Let me go check what the Google reviews say. And then they see 2 reviews. Like, I would think that if they were really good at customer service, they probably have more reviews, because people would review them and want to say positive things. So keep that in mind when it comes to customer service.
Yeah, because whether I'm purchasing something or going to go to like a new restaurant, or repair shop for that matter, I'd look it up. So I'm just going to see what it says. And then plus, going on with having reviews, if you have great ones, kind of show them off in a way. If you are on Facebook, you can share it and say like, hey, thanks Bob for the shout out. Like, we appreciate those words.
Definitely, that is a good way to do it. As we talked about Facebook, and anybody that does that on Facebook, you really should reach out to them and thank them for the review. Similarly, think about it on Google. I think we've covered that.
Reply to them.
Quite a bit, reply
sure.
and thank them for the review. And then also, if you get a great one, and let's say you're doing traditional advertising, ask the person if they'd be willing to have you capture that review and include it in your advertising, or multiple reviews, because again, that's just a great way for people to feel comfortable when they're considering going to your shop. And if they can see a review in a mailer or something like that, physical advertising, traditional advertising, that makes them feel comfortable about making the decision to choose your shop, then that's really going to help you out. And
comparing this survey to last year, a lot of great information that came from both, but how can we compare the two? So interestingly, the comparisons, there are some things that are pretty similar to last year, and there are some things that have changed somewhat significantly. For the most part, when it comes to new customers, and we talked about the marketing to new customers, online search was chosen as the most effective technique. That was also the case in 2018. It grew a little bit as well. So online search still number 1. Traditional advertising also grew some, from 10% in 2018 to 14% in 2019. When we look at what's been most effective for existing customers, online search grew on that one as well, as we talked about. That was number 1 when it comes to what's been most effective at bringing in existing customers. But that one's spread out a lot more across some of the other choices. So traditional advertising, direct mail, emails, they're all at 17, 16, 15%. So it's spread out a little bit more, and a large part of that makes sense, because you'd hope once you have these customers, they're existing customers, but you have all their information. Oh, right.
So,
absolutely.
So you can send more specific direct mail to them. You can send appointment reminders to them. You can send that in email as well. So you can utilize those methods a little bit better than you can certainly with new customers. So those are all important and similar to what they were in 2018.
So after taking a look back at last year's survey and comparing it to this one, a lot of things are pretty similar, but what about the factors that are being most frequently used in marketing compared to last year?
On that one, we talked about work quality and customer service being number 1 and 2 this year. Well, probably not surprising. Those are also number 1 and 2 last year in the same order. So again, what are shops emphasizing in their marketing? It is work quality and customer service. Probably the most interesting thing that came out of that one is that convenience was 4th in 2018, and then in 2019 it dropped to last. So that's really surprising to me, especially in our current convenience economy where everything is about making things convenient for people. You think about
Amazon
1-hour delivery. You think about all the little let us pick up your fast food and bring it to your house or apartment types of delivery. All of those things.
The pharmacy is starting to deliver stuff.
Another good option. Amazon's working on having drones that deliver directly to your house. So there's an opportunity there that if you have things at your shop that really speak to convenience and help your customers from that standpoint, there's definitely an opportunity to emphasize that, because not so many shops are in their marketing. In fact, 0% told us when they took this survey that they're emphasizing convenience.
That's such a great point. And thank you so much for those of you who participated in our survey, even last year. Thank you for giving us all the helpful value tips and just things that we can learn to share about the success of the auto industry and share it with you. If you're still a little curious about the results that we have found, please head to our website. It's www.myrsw.com. Check out our Resource Center tab at the top. Martin actually hosted a webinar recently about this survey where he went into it in depth. It was great.
And I always enjoy connecting with shops and shop owners and people working in shops. So if you have additional questions, I would definitely encourage you to watch the webinar, because as Bekah said, take a deeper dive into these numbers and what they mean to you and how you might want to react to them. But always feel free to reach out to me. My email is martin.morgan@repairshopwebsites.com. And certainly you can go to our website and find that, or fill out a form and just
ask for Martin.
Yeah, you could. You find me regardless. But I'm happy to talk about any of these results in more detail.
Thank you for listening to the Busy Bays podcast. If you want more information about this, please visit myrsw.com and go to our Resource Center. We plan on hosting one of these every month, so subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out. We just have one more favor to ask of you. It would mean the world to us if you would share this with your friends and colleagues. Our goal is to help auto repair shops succeed, so you can help us achieve this goal by just telling someone else about this show. Thanks again. Have a great day.